So welcome back guys to another video. Of course, today is deadline day for the UK in terms of buying players, and of course I have to make a video somewhat reviewing some of, in my opinion, the most interesting transfers that somewhat happened in the last 24 hours. Keep in mind, I'm recording this video once the deadline is already done. Now, let's start off with Celso. So very surprisingly to some and to myself as well, Spurs might actually got Lo Celso, but that's not the most surprising part. Spurs did not get Lo Celso on a permanent deal. It seems that they got him on loan. Now, of course, Spurs had made an offer for Dybala, which didn't go through. Spurs were quite close to Bruno Fernandes, so and they were eyeing Lo Celso for quite a while, for actually the longest. So it was definitely sure they were looking for a cam or let's say an offensive midfielder, especially because I thought they were gonna sell Eriksen, and in theory they can still sell Eriksen because they can still sell, especially now that they got Lo Celso. Now, I watched Lo Celso especially in the Europa League last season against Milan, and I found him to be an excellent player. Very, of course, very skilled on the ball, but also very tactically intelligent. He would help the team. I think this is a signing that fits extremely well in a potential midfield once Eriksen leaves of Spurs, for example, with Ali, Dombele, and Lo Celso. And I was quite surprised that they didn't sign him on loan and there's only an option to buy now. This is because I would expect a team like Betis to try and cash in as they can still sign players, and like usually when you sell big players on a permanent deal. In connection to that, also Spurs managed to sign Sessegnon. Now we're talking about the English left back from Fulham, and he cost around £25 million. Now keep in mind, he is one of the biggest English prospects, and for being a big English prospect, this price was actually not that insane. Now keep in mind, Fulham had an extremely bad season last season, and Sessegnon did not play that well. But like for a 19-year-old, and he did play most games, I think this is a good signing for Spurs, especially as there was talks of them selling Rose, so they needed a fullback, and especially because Sessegnon is a bit of jolly, he can play also in attack. So seeing that Spurs this season are going to have to, somewhat back up what they did last season, having an extra player that can add, maybe he's on the bench and they're losing, so maybe to sub him on a bit of pace. I thought this was an excellent signing, and surprisingly for English prices wasn't such a crazy price. Secondly, David Luiz to Arsenal. Now this was I was extremely surprised because David Luiz is a starter for Chelsea. And he's valued quite a bit. I checked on Transfermarkt; they value him at £20 million. Now keep in mind he's a 32-year-old, but still he's somewhat of a good player. Now he went to Arsenal for £8 million, and keep in mind that Arsenal absolutely needed a centre back. Absolutely, they were looking also at Upamecano. They were looking at Rugani, so they had to buy a centre back because it can't be possible that they made such amazing signings in attack. And in defense, which is by far the worst side of the pitch, they didn't do anything pretty much. So they managed to buy David Luiz for quite a cheap price, for £8 million, which in my opinion is a deal. Now the only problem is that probably most of you have seen David Luiz play. Often in the marking of an attacker, he is not great. So I think David Luiz plays the best when he's next to a really strong centre back defensively. David Luiz, we all know his capabilities in attack, his passing out the back, his free kicks. But I can give you an example. In Chelsea Eintracht, when Luka scored, I believe at Stamford Bridge, there was a huge mistake by David Luiz which let him go. And I don't really see a player in Arsenal who can really cover up for David Luiz's mistake and therefore portray David Luiz as a very good offensively centre back, but in my opinion, not a world class centre back because he just makes too many mistakes. But anyways, Arsenal needed the centre back. They got with David Luiz. Could have gone worse, so they should be happy. Then Lukaku officially to Inter. Now it seems that we're talking about numbers such as £65 million plus bonuses. We're talking about 10-13 million bonuses. Now it's of course it's not sure how many of these bonuses are easily achievable and how many aren't, but I mean, Man U had to sell Lukaku. The situation could have gone on with him not even wanting to train with the team anymore. Inter needed a striker. They got their big boy striker. I think every party is happy. Lukaku is happy in Italy. Man, you got the cash, even though they didn't sign any attacker, which is quite interesting, as they need a striker because they're full of those cams, those offensive midfielders, wingers. But I cannot believe that Man U's planning on having Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford as their only two options as strikers. So yeah, that left me a bit wondering why they didn't do anything. Such a rich club. Then Iwobi to Everton. Now Iwobi is, in my opinion, yet a player to, let's say, explode. And when I say explode, is yet a player to really show strong potential and quality consistently. Now the JJ Okocha nephew, which played for Arsenal, didn't even often start. He would often come off the bench, and when he played, it's not even sure what his position is, whether it's more central, whether it's more on the wing. He's not extremely pacey. He's more of a technical player, but unfortunately he's not even very clinical. And so Everton signed him for a bid in the region of £30 million. Now I thought this was quite an overpay. Now I did read some comments, and I watched the Premier League, but I'm no expert. People said that in their opinion the price was right. In my opinion, it isn't. I don't really think it's a player Everton really needed. They've signed a striker, well, Ken. They're full, again, another team that is full of offensive midfielders. I can think of Richarlison. I can think of so many other offensive midfielders at Everton. I don't really see this move. Then, probably the best signing in defense that Arsenal made by far, Kieran Tierney. Such a strong fullback, so fit, so fast. When I say fit, I mean he runs a lot. He does do all the wing. And seeing that really Monreal and Kolasinac haven't succeeded consistently in the position, I think this is a great signing. Tierney's 22 years old. Excellent signing in my opinion. I couldn't see how that goes wrong. And lastly, Dennis Praet to Leicester. Now, for those that don't know, Dennis Praet is really a number 10. He's an offensive midfielder, excellent at passing, excellent dribbling. He's quite weak and he's not exactly a goal scorer, but he was certainly a class first for Sampdoria. And Leicester signed him for, honestly, his price. He is worth 20 million. For the Premier League, 20 million is not much. I don't even think he'll start, seeing that Leicester already have Jose Perez and Madison. That's why I was quite surprised that they bought him, not because he's bad, but because I don't really see why they need him. They have the two exact players that would play in his position. But yeah, he can also play center midfield, but again, he's quite weak. He's short, he's not fast. He's not a dynamic player, and he's not excellent at defending. But keeping aside, in his position at cam, I think he can do very well, and I think he can add a bit of more quality to Leicester's play, which is often very dynamic. Having Jamie Vardy going through, you want to add someone that can play the pass, that can send him through on goal. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the transfer deadline day. So I'm out. Like, subscribe, comment. See ya.